Yeah, this is the only one that wasn't just like, hey, set it to 4. This one was 4 voices, I remember right. It was something. I'm pretty sure it was 4. Anyway, so. Harmonizer, again, 25%. I don't think there's actually much else going on here. I kept trying to change the sound to make it better. Basically, everything didn't sound right. Everything just made it sound even weirder and worse. There was a lot of failure here, but I'm glad with the result, actually. Just because, like, actually took it. Like, I did this very quickly, but that doesn't mean that. Well, when I say quickly, I mean compared to some of my other ones. I did this very quickly because I did this in like 2 days, whatever. But that doesn't mean I haven't put effort into this, because these 2 days have just been like non-stop try and figure out what's going on. So yeah, an EQ, which looks like, again, it's quite harsh, but there are no harmonics, at least from what I can see, lower than here. So it's not actually taking out any completely. A lot of these EQs, if they look a bit bare, again, I couldn't think of anything else to do with them. Like, I felt like I should do more EQing, but I just couldn't think of any frequency areas that were really worth boosting or dropping. Especially, I feel like it's partly because I took off the limiter. Sometimes boosting something, which I would usually boost just to give it a bit more, like, emphasis, colour, personality, however you want to put it. It doesn't work as well when you take off the limiter. I do think overall it was a good idea to take off the limiter, because it makes this feel very open and not feel like it's all compressed, all closed in by this limiter. I feel like everything sounds like it feels a bit robotic, even though it's not really, but yeah, it feels a bit robotic with the limiter on. It feels a bit more real if each individual sound is given its own compressors and all that. It's kind of like, giving it an analogy, it's kind of like they're all being played in their own different rooms or whatever, where like sound is perceived in different ways in a way, just like very slight differences, so it don't matter too much, but it's like perceived in all these different ways that fit them the best, hopefully, if I'm competent enough. Yeah, there's just a reverb, there's a bit of pre-delay. I thought pre-delay was really weird at first. I thought, why would you ever want that on a reverb? But I figured out that obviously phase cancellation, I found out about that and I was just like, oh, so the reverb creates phase cancellation, and the pre-delay, she set it to the right amount, means that it doesn't cause any. So yeah, it's not a really crucial thing. I mean, it's a reverb. Unless it's set to 100, you're probably not going to get much phase cancellation that's going to be crucial, but still, it's nice to have the pre-delay. It's just like a little like finishing touch. Maximus, just compressing. Yeah, I genuinely I think that's literally it, except for the other synth at the second drop. So the second drop introduces a new drum pattern. Oh, before I do that, I just realised I thought I skipped over something. There's this drum pattern. To just say, that's the one that plays then. Anyway, so this is the new drum pattern for the drop, which is supposed to be a bit more slow tempo, but it felt empty, so I put in these hat rushes, which are a bit more complex now. And now snare 3 and the kicks are pitched, so again it feels a bit more like the beginning. Yeah, these sounds, I'm not gonna lie, they ain't perfect, but I really tried to make these sound right, and I feel like at the end, this is actually a good result. It's just a bit like, there's a bit of weird phase cancellation going on. I think that's what. So, it's a combination of two sounds. I wanted to kind of make something, if you listen to Boss Fight, I was trying to make something in that kind of thing, where like I'd have a very basic kind of super saw playing this melody, and then I'd have a bass doing the same, but like, yeah, it goes under the like main melody, and it would just be like, yeah, bass. Kind of like Boss Fight does on stuff like Sonder and Milkshake remix and all that. So I just thought this would be fitting and all that, but Bah. It was kind of hard to make them mix. I actually considered vocoding the two, but I thought that in the past vocoding has not worked very well for me. The only time it's ever worked well for me is Vocastep, which it did work very well there. But besides that, vocoding has been a disaster for me in most dubstep situations. But anyway. So, as you can see, this used to have frequency phaser. I got rid of it because frequency phaser, and it's all like this. I want to use some pitch. It's actually changed a bit. It's the high ends. Good. Fade in the vibrato. That's it. It's just a super saw. It would have 9 voices, but it has 3 because I reduced it. Yeah, that is it, except for the mastering. What is going on here? Saturation, EQ, peak controller, because it's got the same reverb thing going on. Is this an ultra fat flanger? Yeah, I think this is ultra fat chorus. Compression, that's all that's going on. Then we get into the more interesting sound. I remember this sound sounding really weird to me when I first made it, but this is actually not bad. This did have unison. Yeah, it sounds even better with that. So, this was originally a very, very detuned thing, but I thought, but it didn't sound right, and I thought, well, what if I reduce the detune a bit, but add subharmonics, which I think sounded quite nice. So it's got detuned half. I think it used to be detune quartered. And it's got its frequency half, so it's extra bass. It's got its harmonizer on. This used to be a band stop. Wait, is this still a band stop? No, not really anymore. With some resonance, but not anymore. It's just a keyboard track low pass with absolutely no width, so it's an instant cut off, basically. It's got a little bit of folding here. I don't even remember that I did that. And yeah, here we go. I did the similar thing that I did earlier with that citrus here with this bassy 250 Hz range. And if you wonder what's going on here, I thought it sounded a bit weird, and I felt like I should fade it in and out. But like the bleeding that would cause would just I thought if I was slow with it, the bleeding that would cause would sound weird. It would always either sound like there wasn't enough or there was too much going on with that. So I thought that if I just set it to the wave option without any tension, so that it's this, like, so many oscillations a second, it would keep switching between being like too much and too little so fast it would kind of cancel out and hit a happy middle, which I thought that's like I thought that was wishful thinking. Like, I thought it could happen, but it probably won't. But actually, it worked out, and I feel like that's a good sign. No, yeah, you know what? When I was first making this sound, I was like, you know what? It's not really that good, but you know, I've got to make my second drop sound, and I don't want to make it another generic thing. At least this is creative. But you know what? It's better than I remember it being. Got a bit better, but it was very hard to master it. And on top of that, I'm already using new mastering techniques. I don't know if they're very innovative in the actual industry or anything, but to me, they're news. Then this is the same as the Grake from before, but instead of the bells, it's got the chord stabs, the offbeats. Yeah, then there's just more the same, but they've come in at different times. And then, where is it? Yeah, here. So now there's a bit dedicated to the bass and a bit dedicated to the melody.